Hi, I'm Devon Tactical. If you're a shooter in Southern California, you may have heard of California Range Weekend, or CRW, a relatively new annual community event that started in November 2021. I attended both days last year and wanted to create this sort of review of my experience. So we arrived at CRW 2021. It's early, cold, I have to pee, I have to poop, I have heartburn. Yeah, it's going to be a good day. First, I think it helps to mention the type of shooter I am. I'm not LEO or military, just a civilian, and while I do shoot competitively in local USPSA matches, my primary purpose for training is self-preservation. CRW seem to be heavily marketed towards those most interested in the tactical and self-defense use of shooting, and their courses reflected that. They had a pretty good spread of courses to choose from, some of which were basic handgun courses to a CCW specific course, and even a door breaching course. So no matter your experience, there was likely something useful to you. With your ticket, you get both a day class and a night class. The event took place over the course of 2 days at Burro Canyon Shooting Park in LA County. The first day was dedicated to both your day and night class, while the second day was for competition and raffles. Each day, there were a small number of vendors with booths up that you can visit and purchase from. This year will be a little bit different, as I will explain at the end of this video. Day 1 began quite swiftly with an initial safety brief, then right to your day course. I chose the breaching course by Nate from TSI Corps. I thought this was probably the most unique course that was being offered and something that I would have a hard time finding outside of this event. My initial expectations were much less than what was actually offered in this course. I had thought that we were going to do mostly just some rifle stuff and then at the very end, breach a few doors. After a short but dense rifle manipulation, we went straight into breaching, using a number of different methods and tools that each student was able to try themselves multiple times. Nate was kind enough to even throw in some basic CQB entering tactics that we all got to try with live fire.
Unknown is your threat and your danger.
When I thought, okay, that's got to be the peak of this class, he pulls up his own truck and has us taking turns using it to rip open a gate. Again, I thought, okay, that's got to be it. And then Nate pulls out a box of training flashbangs. By the end of the course, I believe I had breached the door about 10 to 15 times in different ways, with and without live fire. In between each breach, Nate gave us a rundown on the hows and whys and demonstrated each method. One of my favorite parts of this course was definitely squatting up with other students and working together in a breach. It was a great opportunity to make connections that I still have today. My second course of that day was with Mark from First Defense. Mark was actually one of the main reasons I attended this event, as I've been very interested in taking one of his courses. His low-light CCW course was also a subject I was very interested in. His course was very hands-on, and he was very detailed with his instruction, taking every opportunity to turn someone's mistake or question into a learning moment for everyone. I have to say, his method of instruction was very impressive. He held my attention for an entire 5 hours, and he was super patient and attentive with everyone's needs. You can really tell that Mark loves to teach.
He's really good at instruction. I don't know if he has to have kids, because I felt like his 6-year-old son when he was talking to me, teaching me things.
At the end of his class, he held a small competition with the winner getting an exclusive Top Shooter patch.
I've only given one of these out so far.
And a $300 Surefire Stiletto Pro handheld light that was supplied by the event organizers. The competition was a low-light variation of El Presidente, and I just so happened to have won, narrowly beating out Eric, the owner of Howitzer Clothing and the bane of my competitive streak at this event. The next day started bright and early at about 8:30 a.m. I actually roamed aimlessly around the booths awaiting for an announcement about the competitions for an hour or two until I finally inquired from one of the hosts.
So I found out that they're having competitions all day, the whole day, starting now, or starting a while ago. You just got to walk up to them.
Each instructor had their own competition that they were allowed to create and set rules for. I think this was awesome, trying out completely different drills, meeting each instructor, and seeing how you match up with all the other shooters. There was a bit of an issue where two instructors had to share a bay for their competition to take turns going down range. For whatever reason, when I arrived at this bay, they seemed to not be very organized about it, and I was unable to shoot one of these drills. At the end of the day, at around 4:30 p.m., they announced the competition of Raffle Winners. While I didn't win any raffle prizes, I did take home 1 third place and 2 second place prizes, having just been beaten by Eric from Howitzer, by both of them, for first place, which is why I'm dedicating this year to beating him at the competitions. Overall, this event was awesome. I got to meet a lot of skilled shooters, learn a lot of stuff from the courses. Not only that, but I ended up winning more in prize value than I paid for my ticket. I expect this year's event to be even better. They've really paid attention to the comments from last year, adding food trucks, more vendors, more instructors, and scheduling the day and night classes on separate days so that each day isn't so long. If you are into defensive or tactical shooting and you'd like to progress your training while meeting others in the community, I highly recommend going to this event. The price is the equivalent to that of 2 courses, with the added bonus of meeting a couple hundred other shooters, taking part in some competitions, and a chance to win some prizes. If the ticket is outside your budget or the class you want is already filled, they do offer some spectator tickets that you may want to look into. But that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching, and be sure to let me know in the comments if I'll be seeing you at this year's event.
Boo boo. Boo boo. This is why you gotta wear your gloves.
Well, I found the porta potty.